Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 17 of Let's Play Tyranny Gold Edition. We were walking over here because of something. Let's just check the houses out, and I think that's what we were doing. So we'll check this house first. If we've already been in there, of course, I'll just move on and we'll not worry about it. But I'm gonna obviously just make sure. I don't actually remember what I did in the last part, and yet we haven't been in here. So let's talk to Eldian. He's welcoming us. Let's go speak to him. The sunburnt man dips his head in greeting. An outsider never arrives alone. At least that's what my mother always said. Seems she knew what she was talking about. He nods thoughtfully his own words. I'm Eldian. Welcome to Lefian's Crossing. You must be the one everyone is talking about. Tunon's fatebinder, right? Eldian looks at you over and shrugs, hearing stories about your exploits in Vendrian's Well. I expected you to be 12 feet tall and shoot fire from your mouth. Can't always tell the contents of a pie from its crust, can you? Not really a fan of the way you use your weapons to say hello, but this isn't the first time blood was shed over Lefian's Crossing, and it certainly won't be the last. I don't want to pretend I'll miss the Brotherhood. But enough of my prattling. You didn't come here for a history lesson or to get my opinion on your grandeur. He waves his hand dismissively at his previous comments. The adjudicator sent you for the Arcanov song, I assume. What can this old fool do for you? What was that about the Arcanov song? Sirin, the songbird? Feels like it's half the town she's got mooning over in the hovel near the river. It's on the first tier. If you want to find her, his brow knit, feel free to take her when you go. He cants his head slightly, banishing his sour expression. But seeing as you're not here for her, what can I do for you? Nothing, mate. And just my sessionally reminder, we are an orderly assassin who's disciplined, but is obviously deadly and is definitely not adverse to being aggressive. There we go. Sorted. Got it. Cha-ching. Let's fucking get things going. I do need a fucking character sheet just so I can remember my the character traits of any Let's Play I do, just so I don't have to fuck about and remember. Let's go see what's in here. We'll have to investigate what Sirin is, because I'm pretty sure this is something I've never had to get the Arcanov song, but I believe it is a DLC. There she is. I believe this is DLC related. Like I don't. That's why I've not had. Obviously had her before. Let's go talk to her. Sirin stands here, surrounded by a group of villagers. She speaks to them in soft, dulcet tones, holding them hypnotized with her hand motions. A headdress flashes as she speaks, and you are unable to tell if it's a trick of the light or the gem in it that it is actually glowing. She is swept up in her rotation and seems completely unaware that you've arrived. There is a lull in her conversation as she opens her eyes.
Well, look who's here. And what brings you to Lefian's Crossing? Can't imagine it's the scenery or the quaint locals. Have you come to spoil my fun?
She frowns a little, momentarily lost in thought.
Tunon probably insisted you find me, didn't he? Because we can't let Sirin have any fun, can we? Let's control her. Let's tell her what she can and can't do. Let's use her to destroy nations.
As she speaks, the crowd around her appears agitated and the air in the room grows heavy and warm. Suddenly, she smiles.
But enough of that talk. What do you think of my followers?
She makes a motion over the group gathered at her feet. As she speaks, you feel a peaceful serenity washing over you. The crowd calms and breathing becomes easier. Very nice. As long as you don't get egg out of hand.
Oh, stop that, fatebinder. It's not like I'm hurting anyone. Well, at least not yet.
She laughs and the feeling in the room buoys. You smile without even realizing you wanted to. Stop the emotional manipulation now. You come with me so I can keep an eye on you.
So now I need a babysitter? It was Tunon, wasn't it? Or Narat? Monsters, both of them. Everyone seems to think I'm gonna go out of control again and kill a whole village. I'm 15. I think I know what I'm doing. Although, you did activate one of the spires, so your power is something I could learn from, and you are right. Certainly not going to make any significant advances staying here with a bunch of nobodies worshipping me. Watching you in action could give me the edge I need to unlock a spire of my own. Fine. I will allow you the glorious gift of my presence in your party.
Alright, come with me then.
Well then, let's go. If you're going to teach me the wonders of the world, it's not going to happen here.
And for now, you can just go sit at a spire. I have no intention of using you just yet. So that's a party member I've never had, and I'm pretty sure it was a very orderly thing to do to keep her in line, as she seemed to be very averse to Tunon. And as Tunon's our big boss, I think it was better that we keep her under control. Just, you know, make sure that she's not causing problems. As she does seem to be aligned with Narat, which is never good. So we've been in every house. There's some loot I've missed, which I think is over here. So we're going to go get this loot. Actually, I don't know where that loot is. Oh, I think it's there. So we're going to go get this loot, and we're going to go into the spire. Because if we look at the quests, investigate the spire, which is this is the reason why we're in Lefian's Crossing. Like, we didn't come to pick up the Archon of Song. Like, I had no shit given about picking up the Archon of Song. Like, there was no interest in picking her up. But, I mean, it's always nice to have a spare companion. But this is pretty much the party I rock for the entire game, because every one of them, I know what I like. I know them very. I mean, to be fair, Verse and I are pretty similar. So it is weird to use myself and Verse at the same time, but it works. Anyway, into the thing we go. This shift thing on the bottom, the shift to issue multiple commands, has never worked well for me, so I normally just stick away from it. Alright, so let's we shouldn't need to do some stealth. And this isn't like Pillars of Eternity where sneaking actually shows you some extra stuff. These floor stones have been broken recently. Bits of metal nearby would suggest it was a result of a careless soldier.
Can't do that.
What's that? Ooh, loot. What's this? The sunken relief, though heavily damaged, is clearly meant to depict a runic symbol similar to the one you saw in Ascension Hall. The relief is incomplete unless the final form of the rune known. We'll take a charcoal robin. Pressing charcoal to parchment, you capture a blurry but proportionate image of the ancient relief. With enough collected imprints, it may be possible to reconstruct the original shape of the rune. As you work, Lantry hovers near. See how that pattern looks broken along two edges? I think there's more to the engraving than this. What's here? Then we'll look for more. Lantry nods. Agreed. If we collect enough sketches and imprints, we could no doubt reconstruct the original image in its entirety. Not that you really need them for the majority of them, if I'm completely honest. Like, if I'm legitimately honest, you really don't need them a lot of the time. This door creates a near perfect seal with the surrounding walls. Along its surface, you see several chips and shallow gauges from failed attempts to force it open. There is nothing to interact with on its panels, and you summarize that it was never meant to be opened from this side.
Interesting. Sorry.
Yep. Fuck tons of potions. Let's make sure that I need to make sure those potions are here where I can manipulate them. So I'm gonna give myself this potion. I'm gonna actually give Barrick a bigger potion. I'm gonna take these berries and leave that stuff. Other potions, it's between Verse and Lantry, and I think Verse honestly is more susceptible to getting her head kicked in. So let's give her the thing. Some more loot right here. We must gather our party to go forth. So let's go forth into the Spire Central Room, I believe it is. Something caught along those.
Seeing a lot in this room I'd like to sketch. But we should keep moving.
Let's fuck off with that. This chamber immediately reminds you of Ascension Hall. An intricate rune running along the floor can only mean one thing. You stand at the feet of a great spire. Each step you echoes across a great distance. As you gaze upwards, the sage-coloured walls quickly give way to unending blackness. The rune in the centre of the floor is inactive, and the silence of the hall offers no clues as to its use or function. You feel a slight tug in your chest, a faint echo of the energy that enveloped you at Vendrian's Well. Hold a moment. Lantry bellows the comment louder than needed, smiling as he hears his voice echo throughout the massive chamber. If my sense of direction is at all reasonable, we are but standing below the spire of this region. What do you recommend? Lantry points at the pattern on the floor. Let's start with the grooves of the stones on the floor over there. If it's like the spire of Vendrian's Well, whomever built this created a mystical conduit on the top, and I think that it's very, very unlikely that the pattern is purely decorative. Let's press on. What he knows of the spire is the same as pretty much what we would probably know, and again, we don't need to read that because we've already...
Okay, any bets on which sigil unleashes more scourges?
Now, I'm going to try and do this from memory because I want to see if I can remember it. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yep. See, this one is, like, as you can tell, it hasn't been that long since I last did this. The arcane light courses skyward, trailing off towards the horizon in the direction of Vendrian's Well. You feel the ground rip from up beneath you, and yet again, as you drift back into the warmth of the energy surrounding you. Your awareness stretches beyond the limits of the spires, pulling in many directions at once. The light you saw arcing through the skies reminds you of the tether you feel at the top of Vendrian's Well. This too is a point of connection, and you are inextricably part of it, bound as surely as the spires are to each other. The Sunset Spire in Lithian's Crossing feels burdened by its age, as if a central linchpin somewhere in its core has weathered the centuries of oppressive weight and longs to topple. The surge of energy that courses through you, forming a link with Vendrian's Well, strengthens the very stones beneath you. The structural weakness you detect vanishes, replaced by confidence that could keep this tower standing for millennia. And tell me where you're writing from. Let you speak aloud as he pens a missive. And how to reach you, and I will send you an iron ring for your trouble. He signs his name with a flourish and then tosses the parchment into the wind. In the blink of an eye, the heavy current carried the slip of parchment eastward. I had this idea of a message in a bottle without a bottle. Maybe it'll work. If I threw a dagger from up here, I wager I could split a man on the ground in half. Damn, but I want to try. From here, even the old walls seem pretty paltry. This sovereign view was not intended for the likes of us. Barak shakes his head slowly. The spire, like a relay between you and Vendrian's Well, bridging some transfer of energy on an enormous scale. You are the first link of a chain that stretches the length of the realm. As you struggle to understand this sensation, you grow aware of whispers all around you. We'll listen closer. The whispers themselves seem to travel down the tether between you and your spires, conducting heat that feels at times unbearable. They speak of your actions, your choices, everything that led you to this place. Your name is known, your banner recognized, your deeds reported across the tiers and Northern Empire alike. For an instant, you can see the accumulated hope and fear these whispers present. It appears like dew drops settling on a leaf, then trickling into a shared basin. This image is fed to you through your connection, a base metaphor that only hints at the true scope. There is a power in these spires, though its source is unfamiliar. Were you to harness it, you suspect that nothing would stand beyond your reach. Unlocking this spire seems to have opened some deeper connection. I don't know what you've done, but standing near you warms my rusted plates, makes me feel lighter somehow. Curious. I'm noting something I also observed at the spire in Vendrian's Well. There's a mystic hum, and it has little beats when you walk, tiny fluctuations when you talk. Unless my senses are deceiving me, you and the spires are mystically attuned to each other. Most fascinating indeed. A quill pen appears in his hand, and the old sage begins furiously jotting notes on his arm. You look taller somehow, like you could command a dozen gangs without any challengers to knife you in the back. And this one, so we've got every spire is like we have 4 things that we can build, and each of the 5 spires, other than obviously the base spire, will be one. And the one I always like to go for first is a forge, because if I build it forge first, it means that I can start getting some really good weapons in first, and you know I'm not waiting on good weapons. But so we have got a missive as well on the subject of spires from fatebinder Rogelius. My dear Galerius, the court is abuzz with the news of civil war. Representative from the chorus and disfavored are having a little shouting match in front of Tunon. The petitioners to the court seem swept up in talk who crush whom, and if and when Tunon will bring down the gavel and stop the fighting. What has me more intrigued is the other story out of Vendrian's Well. Tunon sends you on what I thought was going to be a one-way trip to the well, and not only do you live, you somehow claim the mountain spire. And you broke Kyros' edicts too. Such things make a little civil war seem so trivial in comparison, at least to those who can separate the message from the noise. Tell me, what was it like to break the edict, and how is it you took control of the spire, fatebinder Rogelius? I'll explain the experience best you can. Dear Roligus, Kyros' edict simply said that an agent of the Overlord must claim Ascension Hall before Kyros' Day of Swords. The only thing I consciously did was take charge of the battle to claim Ascension Hall. My claiming of the spire happened just moments after I felt the edict grip release. The floor of Ascension Hall gave way, unearthing a glowing pattern buried beneath the chamber floor. Kyros only knows how long it's been buried under that tile. As for how I actually claimed the spire, it is perhaps a mutual bond. Atop the spire is an old structure, a twin-tined edifice. I'll include a sketch on the back of the parchment. The structure spoke to me in sensation and images, and it seems to respond to my presence in some limited capacity. This is what happened, as best I can think to describe it. Does any of this sound familiar or bring to mind any old stories or rumors? And we are, I must also mention, we are, like, as a character, we would be very much happy to talk to our other Fatebinders about anything we've experienced, because they are, Fatebinders in this game are basically considered to be like family. But let's talk to Evolus. Greetings, Fatebinder. How may I assist you? I want you to forge something for me. Certainly, Fatebinder. So this is all the stuff we can forge right now. Alchemist gloves for the first time might actually be useful, but they are expensive, and you need 4 recruits to do it. Commander's plate, unfortunately, something I will not be building because I don't actually need it for a change. This I might build though, the Nightwalker's boot. You get Shadow Strike, tell behind an enemy, dealing significant. Yeah, I will be getting that. That is definitely going to be good. A Headhunter, which is a sword, but that's not like this isn't what I want to do. I found this hilt in the old walls. What can you tell me about it? This looks like the hilt of the Sentinel. One of the finest swords the Fatebinder have ever made. With this, I could recreate it if you want. So, obviously, now we've got, Sentinel should be there. Sentinel, it's a 2-handed weapon, though, so it's no use to us at all. And it's bronze, so it's a bit shit, in my opinion. But, yeah, it's not what I'm not interested in that, and I've just realised this is what I'm interested in doing. Upgrade. Upgrade. Oh, we need forge recruits, that's what we need, right. So, let's hire some forge recruits. So, what we need to do is we need to hire people useful. Control fire, frost, lightning, yep. You're worth it. Vigor and stone, not really worry about that. Specialize in light armor, yes please. Metal armors, don't really need to worry about that for now. Smith provides bronze ingots and iron ingots, yes, we need both of those, but unfortunately, we can't really sell those right now. Do you think you could be my friend from his armor? Fatebinder. If you think I hadn't already had my eye on that problem, you don't know the Forge Bound at all. Master Genia, though, all the smiths at the Fiend's Crisis may be able to help you. And if I require someone less beholden to the laws of the Overlord? Barak simply covers his eyes with his palm and shakes his head. Far be it from me to gossip, Fatebinder, but I have heard that the smith with some knowledge of sigils works out of a small rune in Stone Sea. The Lethian's Crossing Smith surely know more than I about such matters. Which is true, they do, and that's what they told us of, but I just thought, you know, I'd ask. So at the moment, let's just, you know, loot everything we can that's suddenly appeared here. Ooh, what was that? That's not it, it's... Sigil of Piercing. That's new. Piercing goes... Yep, it's... We've actually got a lot of those special ones. I normally don't get those very well. I'm normally shit at getting them. And it looks like Lantry and Verse would both like to speak with me. I'm going to quickly teleport ourselves.
Found something.
Ooh, let's go get that quickly. Ooh, an ardent bronze sword. It's currently better than my better weapon, my first weapon, but that's because my main weapon is only green and it isn't blue yet. So give it time. First things first, we're just going to quickly teleport ourselves to the Mountain Spire. It'll just take us 15 minutes to teleport our essence. I'm going to quickly do some selling, then we'll get ourselves back over there and, you know, see our recruits. You see a bronze-clad woman in meticulously maintained attire. The leather buckles in her chest piece show fresh oil, and the scales in her armor have been neatly arranged. She gives a quick bow as you approach, Fatebinder. Vengeance Guard, wrath-free. Her expression is neutral, and her tone one of forced cordiality. I am ready to serve as requested, though the apex of old is no more. I am ready to help you find its new place in the tiers. Show me any instruction in matters of combat. Oh, she's a trainer. I like how well, like how much training we could get Lantry to go through. That's not what I came here. I came here so I could sell some stuff. I think he's the sell guy to sell to. A sinewy man looks out on the horizon, legs firmly planted on the ground as he practices strikes. His arms snap forward, an invisible target in methodical fashion, alternating one after the other. He stops as you approach, an amused smirk on his face. And that, fatebinder, is exactly what I'd advise you not to do. He laughs, punching the air again while adopting a crentious expression. That may work when you've got 100 stone shield at your back, but someone like you thrives with little more creativity. He stiffens up in mock formality, offering you the slightest of bows. That's where I come in. Also, your generous sum of rings had led me to believe. And he is going to train me in subterfuge. You know what, just let's use the rest in subterfuge, right? That's all I'm training now. I need someone to sell some stuff too. Fatebinder Galerius. The stone shield straightens to attention, surprise and interest, lighting his features. It is an honor to meet you. He pounds a fist against his chest, back ridges with pride. Hail, Salon. The soldier's dark eyes brighten with cunning. Perhaps you've come to need me in combat training. Show me what we've got. Right, so where the fuck is the guy? I think it's Revos that he sells off to. It must be. I'm literally extending this part just so I can sell the stuff. I don't mind doing the rest of the... Well, shit. Fatebinder, come take a look. The dirt-caked apex local gestures to an old box at his feet. I've got Beastman Club in here. I doubt that very much. You step into the huckster and peer down to the box. It's full of a sort of junk, nothing more. Before you can comment, you notice him reaching for your ring belt out of your corner. I'm going to grab his hand. He makes a high-pitched squeal that echoes over the expanse of the valley. I didn't mean anything to buy it, I promise. I just wanted to see how many rings you had so I could adjust my prices accordingly. Revos at your service. I've come into possession of some of the items that might be of interest. Are they stolen? At first, he seems about ready to spout off a hasty answer, but he pauses and reconsiders. No, not in the sense they aren't stolen, but yes in the sense that I'm not entirely... He covers his fist. Licensed. But wait. He puts up his hand. Before you throw me to Tunon's dungeon, or worse, consider this. He spreads his arms and turns into a circle. We aren't standing in the on Terretrus. We're standing high above any citizen who is subject to Overlord's law, and this place couldn't possibly be subject to the same rules that govern down there. He stomps his foot on the point of the ground. Don't presume to understand Kyros' law. I will consider the legalities. In the meantime, I will take a look at your goods. He pretty much offers good, upgraded Fatebinder armor. That's pretty much what he does. And then he obviously got a few sigils. But first things first, let's just sell what we can. Those two, that. And all this. That's not as much shit as I thought we would have. Let's sell these potions that I don't want. I already know this sigil, so we can sell that. We'll sell that for now. Yeah, we can sell these as well. Just before, you know, I get attached to them. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the next part will continue on. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next part. See you guys then.